Well, today is May the 31st. It's a Monday, Memorial Day here in the United States. And our scripture reading for today is Joshua chapter 14. And our title of the devotional is Give Me This Mountain. A little bit of the background. The tribes, as you remember, on the east side of the Jordan River had been given their inheritance as Moses had promised. Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh had been given their lands. Joshua chapter 13, we studied that. And now Joshua begins to address the task of giving the other tribes their inheritance by lot, according to the instructions that had been established in the book of Numbers chapter 34. Now, we are reminded that the sons of Joseph, that is Manasseh and Ephraim, have been adopted by Jacob as his own sons. Now, they replaced, obviously, Joseph having the name of his own tribe, and gave him a double blessing that his two sons would each have tribes after their name. Now, the other tribe that was replaced or displaced would be the tribe of Levi. Now, you remember, the tribe of Levi had been chosen by the Lord to serve as priests, and therefore the Levites would receive no inheritance in the land, with the exception of cities and their suburbs being the outlying lands around the cities. And we read in Joshua 14 and verse 4 that they were given for their cattle and for their substance. Now, continuing, the land would be divided by lot and the lands by tribes. And an inspirational event occurs before the division. And we read about that in Joshua chapter 14, beginning in verse 6. Caleb's, Joshua's fellow spy and warrior, remember, they were the only men 20 years and older to come out of Egypt and enter the promised land. They were the oldest men of all of the tribes of Israel. Well, Caleb came before Joshua here in Joshua chapter 14 and verse 6. And he was accompanied by representatives of the tribe of Judah, Caleb being a member of that tribe. Well, those members of that tribe, Judah, came as witnesses, and Caleb then, verses 6 and 7, reminded Joshua that Moses had promised him an inheritance in Canaan. Now, we read in Joshua 14 and verse 6 how Joshua was compelled and said to Joshua, "Thou knowest the thing that the Lord said unto Moses, the man of God, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea." Now, what was Caleb talking about? Well, Caleb reminds Joshua that when he was 40 years old, that Moses sent him, along with the other spies, which included Joshua, to search out the promised land. Now, all the other spies, with the exception of Joshua and Caleb, brought back what the Bible describes as an evil report. Well, Joshua, in Joshua 14 and verse 7, listens as Caleb implores him to remember that which Moses had promised, because Caleb brought back a report of all that was in his heart. Well, what was in the heart of Caleb? Well, when the other spies came and they discouraged the people with their faithless report, Caleb, like Joshua, determined to trust and wholly follow the Lord. Tragically, you and I can remember now that Israel believed the unfaithful spies, and they refused to trust the Lord and enter Canaan. Well, for his faith and faithfulness, Moses had declared to Caleb, "Surely the land whereon thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, and thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my God." Joshua 14 and verse 9. Now, Caleb reminds Joshua that he was 40 years old at the time, and now 45 years had passed. And now he was 85 years old. And Caleb, nevertheless, was determined to claim his inheritance as the Lord had promised. Now, we remember that Joshua, according to chapter 13 and verse 1, was described as old and stricken in years. But such was not the case with Caleb. Even though he was an 85-year-old man, he had suffered the hardships of the wilderness, the battles in Canaan, but we read his own testimony that his spirit and his strength had not been diminished. Caleb testified, Joshua 14 and verse 11, "I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then as a 40-year-old, even so is my strength now for war, both to go out and to come in." What an incredible testimony and an amazing declaration by Caleb. His passion, his faith, his physical strength had not waned. At 85 years of age, Caleb was not ready to retire, retreat, or spend out his days in a rocking chair. He was ready to take by faith what the Lord had promised him for his inheritance. Joshua 14 and verse 12, Caleb asserts, "Give me this mountain, whereof the Lord spake in the day." And he goes on and talks about the land that he was desiring was the land that had great cities and fenced-in cities. And we also understand that it was the land in which giants did dwell. Egyptians' records said that there were men in that area between some 7 feet and 9 feet in height. So we ask the question, what was Caleb's inspiration? Why would an 85-year-old man claim what others had feared and fled? Well, Caleb revealed the source of his passion and faith, saying, "If so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out as the Lord said." You see, the fire of a warrior still burned in Caleb's soul. Though chronologically old, he was ready to claim his inheritance and go to war, knowing the Lord was with him. Now, how did Joshua respond to his old friend's faith? Well, we read in Joshua 14 and verse 13 that Joshua blessed Caleb and gave unto him his inheritance. What an incredible moment in the life of Caleb, the life of Joshua, and the life of Israel. We're nearing the end of our study of Joshua, but oh my, what a testimony of faith we see in Caleb and that we have seen in Joshua. May you and I be inspired by that same faith. God bless you. Bye-bye.